When you're training people, if you're not thinking ahead of the possibility of that person running an entire venue, you're getting it wrong. Hello and welcome. So my name is Simon Rosset and I run the Rosset Bespoke Butler School. Today I am going to tell you one thing that if you do not do this, your hospitality business will fail. I'm not being dramatic, I'm just being honest and realistic with you. The difference between a mediocre or poor hospitality business and a great one is all to do with the people. Now, everyone says this, but so many of the people I've heard say this actually do nothing to back up what they say. I've done training at so many different establishments and they've made big claims about the fact that they are investors in people, that they put training at the heart of everything they do, all the things that they think I want them to say and the things that they think other people want them to say. How many of them actually do it? Very few. So when you've just employed a new barman or a new waiter, let's stick with the barman. So you've just employed a new barman. What training do you give him or her? I would sincerely hope the absolute minimum is, of course, the health and safety training. So you've got to teach them how to safely handle glassware. You've got to teach them how to use the dishwasher, things like that. That is non-negotiable. You've of course got to have them trained correctly about the licensing in whichever country you're in. You know, to whom are you allowed to serve alcohol to, age limits, time limits, things like that. I know people from around the world watch this, so I'm obviously not going to get into specifics because these are literally different for pretty much every country. Train them on is how to mix certain drinks. Again, I would certainly hope that you're training them on that. I'm hoping you're teaching them how to make a cocktail. I'm hoping you're teaching them how to pour a pint of beer. How are you teaching them? Who's teaching them? Who taught the person who is teaching them? This was really brought home to me recently when I did a training class for a student who'd been working in a very nice establishment as a waiter. And they were telling me about the training they'd been given. They said, look, I was told to shadow this member of staff and they would tell me what to do. I said, that's brilliant. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But then they showed me what they'd been shown to do. And oh my goodness, there's a lot of stuff, of course, which is just a matter of opinion. Now, I've been working in hospitality since I was 14 years old, and I've seen a lot of different ways of doing things. And quite often there's more than one right way of doing something. There's more than one way of doing something in a way that works. But what they showed me was not a way that worked. What they showed me was a stupid, to be fair, a stupid way of clearing a table. It was messy, it was inconvenient for the guest. Worst case, it could even have been a bit dangerous because there was a high chance of dropping things and breaking things. Okay, I taught them how to do it properly. That's my job. But the worry is, someone had thought that they were getting trained. Someone had thought that them telling this other person to take them under their wing and showing them what to do was adequate, without even checking that the person they'd asked to do the training actually knew how to do the job. Just because someone's worked for you for a couple of years does not mean, unfortunately, they know how to do the job if they've never been trained. Think about that. But I want to go even further than that. Are you just training them to serve behind the bar? Or are you training them to run the entire venue? That's my question. When you're training people, if you're not thinking ahead of the possibility of that person running an entire venue, you're getting it wrong. Now, I'm not saying for a second that every person who comes and works in your establishment would have the ability or even the desire to run a venue. But if your training is not set up in a way that allows them to develop and grow within your establishment, you will never be successful. If you look at the most successful brands around the world, every single one of those brands has brilliant training systems in place that allow people to develop. Okay? Not everyone will develop. Not everyone wants to. Not everyone wants to run the restaurant. Not everyone wants to run the hotel. Not everyone wants to run the members club. Not everyone can. But if you don't allow the possibility of them doing so, none of them will, and none of them can. And more than that, if you do not give them those tools, if you do not impart that knowledge upon them, they won't actually be able to do the job they are doing to the best of their abilities. Because if you have a chef that only understands the kitchen, a bar person who only understands the bar, a waiter who only understands the food service, a host that only understands how to take people to the tables, your business will never succeed. You might think that just having one manager who's really good is enough to bring all those elements together. It is not. That is always a firefighting way of running any establishment. You need every single person who works there to understand all the other roles. I always have a little saying that the best manager in the world does nothing. When I'm running an event, a large event especially, I don't actually want or expect to have to do anything. Sounds lazy, doesn't it? It's not. I want all of my team to be so well trained, so well briefed, that they know exactly what they're doing. If they come to me for help and advice, of course, brilliant, that's what I'm there for. But if I've got everything right beforehand, can't always get everything right, but you can only do your best. Beforehand, they shouldn't need to come to me for anything. And that is the same goal that you need to have in your business if you want it to succeed. Treat every member of staff like they will one day be running your establishment, because one day they might be.